right here.
Welcome. We're continuing our live stream series this week with a University of Arizona racetrack industry program alum, as well as a current student. This week, we're honored to have Pete Rotondo and Eric DeCoster. Welcome to our live stream.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for
Happy to
having
be
me.
here again.
Yeah, so Pete and I shared some NYRA memories earlier. I was an intern when I was a racetrack industry program student. Pete followed me working for Billy Nader at NYRA. So Pete, why don't you program?
Well, it was great. I mean, it was in the mid '90s. Somehow that was so long ago at this point, but I think the internet literally started while I was in school. I mean, that's how old I am. But it was it was awesome. What happened is I went to Seton Hall for 2 years, and I realized before I even went to Seton Hall, I knew I was going to go to the program. So I had hooked up with Wendy Davis, and she told me exactly what classes to take at Seton Hall that would transfer over. And then I went to Arizona for basically a year and a half. Then went back to Seton Hall for my last semester, and I graduated from the program. It was more like I love my time there, but as you might imagine, I moved there. Fun story. I moved there with a girlfriend, and so then she went back. So basically, I chased her back across the country, which didn't work out so well at the time. Although now everything is wonderful in life. But the point is, I was only there a year and a half, but I literally loved the campus, the classes, the teachers, everybody there.
Yeah, and that's not so unusual. You know, we get folks even wanting to get their second degree, so they have an undergraduate degree already, so they only come for a year and a half or 2 years, get all their classes, take a couple of internships, and head back out into the industry. So, what internships did you do?
I worked with Bill Nader that one summer. I was in the simulcasting when he was running simulcasting in the basement of Belmont. We did that for a year, and then the next year, he really didn't have a role for me, but I said, I need something to do. And he's like, all right, come in and help us with the database. Do you remember at the time, I don't know if they had in New York, you would get these mystery mutual vouchers in the mail.
Right.
But they had the addresses. Well, like you could have signed up 17 times. And right. So I went through that's my whole summer. That summer was going through the database to remove people and whatever. So, yeah, so that's basically with Bill, those 2 years. And then, and that was the internships we had done there.
Yeah, one of my unfortunate racetrack stories is when I was at Santa Anita in marketing, I got a call from a gentleman said, I think you need to come over to my house. And I said, why? He said, you'll see when you get here. He opens his garage and somehow the database went wrong. And he had 25,000 envelopes stacked up in his garage of mystery mutual vouchers. Craig Dado and I looked at each other and were like, oh my God, this is like a disaster. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So luckily he called us and didn't try to put all 25,000 into the machine.
That's funny. That's
crazy. Awesome. So talk a little bit about what happened after you graduated the program.
Yeah, so I went back home. Obviously, yeah. So I moved home after I graduated from my last semester at Seton Hall, and I started with the daily racing form. I worked Mandy Minger because Mandy had come and she taught a class at Arizona, so we got to know each other. And then ultimately I reconnected with her, and so I was in customer service for the racing form. And customer service back then was literally answering the phone. These old guys trying to how to read the form, how to find out what they meant, all this stuff. And we were doing all types of CD-ROM projects. I mean, this is a million years ago, it feels like. So I was with her there. And then one day the remember the NTRA started in 97.
Right.
So they had a New York office and they were looking for a marketing coordinator in 98. And I went up to Mandy and she asked me, she goes like, do you know anybody? I'm trying to help them. I go, what about me? She's like, we can't let you go, whatever. Anyway, long story, she put in the good word, and then I started working with the NTRA.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing the connections that you can make here that then lead on to jobs. And I know even Eric, maybe you want to talk a little bit about how you got your internship.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually at the symposium, actually. Well, going back to last summer when I did internships with Wanamaker's and worked for Ray Handel, I got to meet Keith Olshell a little bit, talk to him, and just, him knowing I was a student down here and knowing he was a alum, that connection was formed. And then at the symposium, when I started to kind of want to dive into the racing office and racing department a bit more, I approached him and was like, hey, what do you think about maybe getting an internship going for next summer? And then we worked through the process, and now I'll be with him for a couple months now. He'll probably be tired of me by the end of it, but doing Belmont and Saratoga, so can't wait. And I'm really, I mean, it was really the symposium where that all kind of kicked off and just gone from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's where obviously Bill Nader, I met at the symposium for the first time, and then same thing. The symposium, I mean, that's what it's meant for, right? That's the idea. So it works really well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've really brought it back. This past year we had 400 people there, and hoping for more than that this year. And it was great post-COVID to have such a show of support. So why don't you talk about what you're doing now, Pete?
So yeah, I left the Breeders' Cup a year ago, May of 21, and I started up with sort of a consultancy with First Racing under Aidan Butler in June of last year. So I've been here about a year, and it's great. It's a different, it's a different vibe. It's like it's more like I don't say this the right way, but it's more creative and open. Like, if you have an idea, you run, you don't have, there's not all these levels to get by. It's sort of, you got a boss, he likes the idea, go do it, figure it out, and there's no, frankly, there's no board of directors. There's no whatever. There's Belinda Stronach, who owns the company, and ultimately she makes all the calls. So it's a lot more freedom to try new things. And obviously working with these guys, the first time they have, so First Racing, of course, is, covers all the racetracks and all the racing, right? But then there's First Experience that puts on all the concerts and does all the marketing. And these guys they're like, experts and super connected in their field. I'm learning a lot from them, and it's a very cool place to be.
So will you be hanging with the chain smokers and Marshmallow and?
Oh yeah. So what happened is last month at Santa Anita, Marshmallow came out to do a promo shoot at the track. So they had him on a horse, they had him as a jockey, they had him whatever. So they asked me to go hang with him a little bit, and for years, me and my dad, we yell and we scream at the race when we hit the racing form, like pound it. So I had Marshmallow doing that. It was hysterical. But yeah, that should be crazy on Saturday. Will be awesome. But on Friday, they have a whole new event called Preakness Live with Megan Thee Stallion, the Ms. Lauryn Hill. Make sure you call her Ms. Lauryn Hill.
Wow.
Yeah, because you have to say Ms. Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
I learned that. And a bunch of great chefs like Tom Colicchio, Marcus Samuelson, Gail Simmons. And it's going to be quite an event. Yeah. So that starts at 3:00 in the afternoon, goes all the way.
Yeah, I think we have a cool Preakness video to show. So let's get to that.
Nice.
Welcome back, Baltimore. We weren't made to be cooped up. There's an innate need for speed, human connection. First, invites you to discover why Preakness is second to none. Preakness 147 welcomes you with open arms. With new seats, familiar eats, thunder of the horses and the infield's pulses. A full weekend of high energy and good vibes. Find your role to play. Friday, Black-Eyed Susan racing. Ladies glowing, champagne flowing. Your music fades with the hometown flames. Miss Lauryn Hill, Megan Thee Stallion, Soulful Symphony, D-Nice, and Baltimore's own Brittany Spencer. Saturday, Preakness Stakes brings the pulse. Infield Fest brings the beat. Marshmallow, Chainsmokers, Moneybag, yo, Frank Walker. We raise our glasses. One raises the Woodlawn vase. Together, we show why Preakness is second to none. Welcome back, Baltimore.
Welcome back.
Very cool. Very cool. The average age of the race fan in that video looked like they were 35 years old, making me feel old. But is that one of your initiatives, is to try to get younger people out to the races?
Yeah, and again, the difference I think between working at a smaller, much smaller company like Breeders' Cup and these guys at first is they have a whole team activated to go not only do it, at one event, but multiple events, right? You got the Florida Derby, the Santa Anita Derby, you got the Preakness, the Pegasus, which has become the most fun event, I think in racing. And yeah, the crowd and the vibe is totally different. And I feel like, let's be honest, the Preakness infield, they're not there to watch horse racing per se, right? But this year we're making a concerted effort. We're going to have wagering ambassadors in there, people walking around trying to give them vouchers to make some bets, to try to teach them up, coach them up a bit. But, Pegasus, they just opened at Gulfstream, they just opened this new thing called the Carousel Club, which is right as the horses come down the stretch. It's unbelievable. It's the best. You have to see it to believe it, that it's the coolest vibe and venue, I think, in racing. And there's different, right? Because you have all the TVs, there's wagering, and there's people walking around trying to help people. So I feel like maybe in the old days it was like, all right, let's just get them in and hope for the best. But now there's an effort to get them educated.
That's great. That's great. Eric, do you have any questions for Pete?
Yeah, I think my biggest one is, how is the RTIP helping you still in your career? Because I imagine, learning a lot of stuff and you gain a lot of experience in other forms, but I'm sure connections wise and stuff, there's definitely things.
Oh yeah. I went to the symposium. I missed for a couple of years, but then I would go consistently. And then I got asked back to do a bunch of panels. And again, it gives you just a little street cred when you're up there, talking through your ideas and what you've been through and at work. And of course, the networking always helps. And that's what really it's all about. It's meeting people. It's not it's not what you know, right? It's who you know. And when you're in this business, it's small, but you still have to know who to go to. And I feel like at the symposium, you meet up with everybody every year, and you reminisce, but then you also move it forward. And I know First is a big supporter. Their meetings. They always have big meetings there every year, and now that the world's basically not going back to normal, I'm sure we'll just lamp it up from here.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get you. I know you spoke once at Symposium. We're gonna have to at least once, and we're gonna have to get you back out here this year. We have some very, very cool panels planned, so we'll release those in the next 30 or 45 days.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, why don't we shift over to the Preakness? It's this week. The post position draw was yesterday. Some interesting stories. It feels a little bit like 1988 again with Mr. Lucas and a filly, and it's crazy how life repeats itself. So what's the buzz? What's the buzz about there in Maryland?
Yeah, well, the weather is going to be hot. There's no rain thankfully, knock on wood, right? No rain in the forecast. We've been through Preaknesses. I've been there where it's been a disaster with the rain, but all sun, only sun the rest of the way. It'll be 94 on Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty hot. As far as the buzz for the race, obviously it's all about Secret Oath, running against the Derby favorite, Epicenter, who ran second. It's disappointing, obviously, that Rich Strike's not here. But I'm glad it happened last week because you get over it and then you move on to the race. If it happened closer, you'd be a little more of a letdown. I'm happy to hear he's healthy. Frankly, I still don't understand why, if you're healthy, you don't run in the second leg of the Triple Crown. But I don't own the horse, so right, can't do anything about that. The Black Eyed Susan on Friday, 13 horses in the race. So that's gonna be a competitive, great betting race. Then you have a couple of Breeders' Cup champ. Bobby Flay's horse Pizza Bianca is running this weekend, and he'll be out here. So it's the racing. They did a really good job with the undercard for sure. And I think the Preakness itself is competitive. I know Epicenter is 6-5, but he's outside. Even though there's only 9 horses, he's still on the 8 hole, and he's going to get caught wide. They have to send him wide. So I'm not sure he gets it done at a big price. At a small price.
Yeah, he's had a a tough go of it.
Yeah.
Successful, but just a lot of races. He's this is maybe not his peak, right? His peak was probably in the Derby where he probably should have won, and he didn't, and now he's probably gonna regress a little bit, but that's may be good enough to win here. I don't know. Eric's our resident handicapper. So Eric, what are your thoughts?
I think it's probably Epicenter's race to lose. I mean, I know that's common opinion, but just the more I looked at the race, I couldn't find the horse to beat him, and I'm very cynical on favorites. I'm always trying to find the right horse to get past him, and just every way I looked at the race, it seemed like he had the best chance. But I think the biggest threat, is Secret Oath, and I think the betting will maybe reflect that, but more so just because she'll be, a fan favorite being the filly and all. But I think a few people think she's maybe a cut below on figures, especially she still has to improve, but she has the talent, she has the turn of foot, and I think, I wouldn't be surprised if Epicenter, makes the lead heading into the stretch and then is just kind of hanging on for dear life while the filly tries to get him. I think it'll be a good race, but I think it'll be a chalky race.
Yeah, it's a good analysis. I looked at it before. I think my bets are really going to key Epicenter in the second hole, because I think to what we were just saying, he's got a bit of the outside. I think he ran his best race last time. I think he was going to regress a little. And then there's 4 or 5 horses that if they step up, they could win.
Yeah.
But Epicenter has to regress. So if you're going to think that's going to happen with the trip, then you might get a horse to pop in there that maybe you weren't thinking, and then get Epicenter second, and then maybe hit the all button in the third to try to get a bomb in there to hit your try. But, like the Derby, I'm still licking the Derby wounds. That was I like to pick these long shots, but that one was impossible.
Yeah. So how do we think the race is going to shape up? Originally, 4 or 5 days ago, I thought, maybe early voting, maybe get an easy early lead. Things changed a little bit. Some late entrants have come in to make it a field of 9. Maybe give them a little more pressure up front. Is that the way you're seeing it, Eric?
Yeah, no, I think like a week ago, I was telling everybody, if early voting loses this race, he might as well never show up again because it's going to play out perfectly for him. But then Armagnac's coming out, and I think the horse that dropped in yesterday, the big long shot, Fenwick, he didn't make the lead in the Bluegrass, but if you watch the race, he's being asked every step of the way to actually try and make it. He got kind of shut off heading into the first turn, and it was over from there. So, I mean, those are 2 horses Fenwick has close to no chance, and Armagnac is only a little better in my opinion, but they're gonna make early voting's life pretty difficult in terms of winning the race. I think early voting can still run huge, but it'll be soften them up just enough to where your Epicenters, your Secret Oaths, your simplifications even will be able to take first advantage of that.
Yeah, simplifications interesting. I mean, I liked him as a bomb in the Derby. He got the trip I wanted. He just didn't get there. But just think about it. He lost Epicenter by what, 2.5, 3. If he improves a little and Epicenter comes back, he's got the inside versus the outside at Baltimore. I mean, at Pimlico, why not? Why can't he step up? They're all, again, if we're saying they've run a lot of races, he's run a ton, but he looks like one of those types of horses that just thrives on it.
Yeah.
Johnny V, can't complain.
Yeah, as far as trainers go, I mean, you have most of the top trainers. You have a little bit of everything. I know it's just tricky. I know you have a little bit of everything. You have the horse out in the blinkers. You have the filly. You have, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. We may get another surprise. I don't think 80-1, but you never know. We may get another surprise. So, what type of crowd are you expecting? I mean, is it going to be 80,000? I mean, what do you guys get out there for a number?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the infield. It's just such a. I mean, if you saw that video, that's back when it was 2019 and when it was a full capacity. We're full capacity again. The last 2 years it hasn't been because of obviously COVID. So I think we're gonna rival that, especially with the weather being sunny and we've been promoting this event for months, and there is this effort here, to all about Baltimore, right? To bring the city out. So, there's going to be this art exhibit with a famous artist is going to be there with a bunch of different artists in the infield. And besides, of course, all of the events. Then there's this restaurant row. There's going to be like 17 restaurants set up, all Baltimore restaurants.
Wow.
That are going to pop up. So just think about it. And all of them are going to tell their people to come and to support. So and the weather's going to be nice. So it's going to be a monster crowd.
And will your wife and baby Rosie be there as well? Are they coming out to
Shona's coming out. Yeah, Shona's coming out. The baby's staying home for this one. But yeah, Shona's coming out. She's got a horse running. My racehorse has a horse on the undercard on Saturday. And I'm back. My role this weekend is really, I'm resuming an old role I used to have at Breeders' Cup, where I'm the middleman between the racetrack and NBC. So I make sure that everything gets in the show that we want. The commercials run, the in-show elements, first bet we promote. I mean, everything that we're trying to get in gets done, and then anything NBC needs, I make sure it happens. So that's the idea. It's like I'll be busy for sure. So it won't be like won't be there sipping black-eyed Susans.
So are you going to hang with Amy Zimmerman? Is she still working the NBC broadcast?
Yeah, she's on. She sits right next to the producer, which is Lindsay Shanzer. She produced the Derby last year. She produced a couple of Preaknesses and the Breeders' Cup. She's just so great. I mean, great to work with. But if you walk in the TV truck, Lindsay's in the chair, and to her left always is Amy. And Amy is, she's the best. I mean, she just knows everything about everything. Like, she knows storylines. She knows technical stuff, like she's and vets it all. So you never have to nothing, she prevents so many bad things from happening. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, she actually spoke to the students. We have a speaker series every spring where we either fly in speakers. Aiden, your boss, spoke.
Yeah.
Amy Zimmerman came in and spoke, and it's just no BS. She's just so straightforward. Yeah. She just lets it go, and I think the students really appreciated her honesty about the business, and she's seen a lot. She's been in the industry a long time, and she was very direct, which the students liked. There's no sugarcoating with Amy, which was really, really cool.
Which is nice, because who has time for that at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, we want to go straight to it. So just to wrap up here,
sure.
Where do you see your role after the Preakness with First? There's just so many elements to this company, right? It's not just one racetrack. It's not two racetracks. It's multiple racetracks. There's so many different pieces to it. Talk a little bit about where you see things going with you and the company.
Sure. Well, I think next year. So basically, working on this concept. I'm not saying it's rocket science, but it's just a way to frame it all up. They have all these big events, right? They have the Pegasus, they have the Preakness, they have the Florida Derby, the Santa Anita Derby. This past year, we started something. It was the first Saturday in March, right? Where Big Cap Day and Fountain of Youth Day happened to fall on the same day, which meant there was going to be 15 stakes races between the 2 days. So I was like, why don't we brand this and we call it like First Saturday, right? Because first, and by the way, it is the first Saturday of the month, so it's like a play on words. You're taking a little from the Derby for Saturday, right? It's like it all makes sense in my head anyway. So we did, and we promoted. We had cross country bets. We had a special contest where you can win $5 million if you picked all 15. We were on CNBC for a couple hours. TVG did a great job, so it really worked well. Handle was up, the combined. And it was an experiment. It was like, well, let's see if it'll work. Because sometimes, traditional thought is, well, let's separate the big days. We don't want to cannibalize. But I'm like, you guys own the company, both tracks. I mean, you own both tracks. So let's work together, run every 15 minutes. So literally every 15 minutes, there was a stakes race. And it was, as far as the bettor goes, it might have been a little too much too much action, so we learned a little bit out of it. Long story short, next year, we're going to try to unveil what we'll call the First Racing Tour. And we will try to do a number of First Saturdays, put the Pegasus under there as well, and sort of do a whole thing between handicapping tour contest, all these bets, more cross country bets, more television coverage, more sort of a purse enhancements to make people run. Basically, have more big days with really just a slight tweak of the schedule and just promotion and branding and marketing. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, that's
I got 6 months. Unlike other, where it's always like, oh my God, we have a month to do it. Well, as soon as Preakness is over, that's full attention on that because we want to get that up and running by January and go from there.
Yeah, I got a call from some of my friends at Golden Gate, and they told me they weren't going to run that Saturday. And I thought, that's my baby. I worked there for a number of years, and talk about that. Not having maybe a more minor league track run against these. Do you think it would just kind of interfere with that concept? Was that
no? Yes and no. I had no idea. Aiden knew the rules, of course, but I guess in California there's a rule that you have to stay 15 minutes off of each other. If the two tracks. So that was going to be impossible. Then they were going to be running on top of either Gulfstream or Santa Anita, and that wasn't a good idea. So I think it actually worked out. So what happened is, they ran on the Monday,
right?
Had the mandatory payout on the pick six. They wound up having a big day. I mean, Santa Anita wound up running too because they canceled on the Friday because of a rain.
Right.
So again, maybe in the future we have mandatory Mondays, like when you have the first Saturdays.
Right.
Create a whole new thing on, make it, make them the focus.
Yeah, and I think a lot of tracks kind of figure Indiana Grand has done that a little bit, kind of going around where the big guys are running the A-League tracks, and then they've kind of filled in on Mondays and Tuesdays and even some Wednesdays and found it to be very successful. They're the big game in town on those days.
Exactly. Yeah. So so that's the focus. But get through this weekend in one piece, and then we'll go from there.
Well, it was great having you with us on such a busy week. Thanks for making the time. I know you have a few other things on your mind this week other than being on a live stream with us, but just like other alums, you really are great giving your time and giving back to the students, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we definitely want to see you out here at symposium time and interact with students. That would be great to welcome you back here to Tucson.
I would love to be back. No doubt. I see the dates, December 5th to the 7th. So I'll put that in the calendar. I know Shona loves it out there as well. Plus, listen, that's how she met Michael Behrens and became, with my racehorse. I mean, that's where it happened.
Wow.
So you want to talk about meeting someone at the symposium and having a career? There it is.
Yeah.
It's next level. So I'd love to be back and definitely we'll plan on it. And again, to the students, first think about it, all the different racetracks, right? We have Santa Anita, Gulfstream, Golden Gate, Laurel, Pimlico. Well, we have First Bet app, Express Bet, a lot of aftercare programs. We need a lot of needs. So if you're looking for a job or you're looking for an internship, give me a call.
Yeah, that sounds good. The other thing I want you to look out for, the University of Arizona, our program bred a horse that should be making her first start at Santa Anita this month. It's a John Sadler horse, Real Fire.
Wow.
She was supposed to run at Del Mar and got a little injured. They scratched her the day of the race, gave her some time. Pretty nice filly. So I think they're looking to run her in the next 2 weeks here at Santa Anita. So that would be great for the program. To have a horse be bred, kind of get off to a good start at Santa Anita, and I know they have high hopes for her. So hopefully she'll do well.
All right, sounds good.
All right, good luck this week.
All right, thank you.
Great racing. All right, take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.